Baby,
treated with dignity? Yeah, right.
I want to see you know forever. Like that. Be
Which brand do you think offers best in class
singable.
best V8 horsepower, and has Motor Trend's 2015
I love you.
Ram?
Of you.
Ford. Here's the answer.
Baby,
That's the Chevy Silverado HD, the Chevy Silverado, and the Chevy Colorado.
I want to see you know
Now qualified buyers
forever.
0% financing for 60
Baby,
months. Plus find your bonus tag and get 4,000 cash allowance on select Silverado 1500 crew cabs in stock. See your local Chevy dealer today.
I want to see you know forever. Baby, that's it. That's it. I love you.
Joyce Mitchell had taken a few knocks in life. Born into a
You
modest
get what,
family in upstate New
baby?
York, she dropped out of high school, worked at a local slipper factory, married her
Yeah.
high school sweetheart, and soon divorced after her son
I
Toby was
love you.
born. By then she had caught the eye of a local man, Lyle Mitchell. Described the moment he
It's
saw
for you.
Joyce take pity on a lonely child who wanted money for a toy.
Bye.
Very, very kind-hearted. She took money out of her pocket and gave it to the kid. The lady has a heart of gold.
Joyce and Lyle married in 2001, and they both ended up as civilian workers at small-town
I
Canada
love
Moore's
you.
biggest employer, Clinton Correctional Facility.
I want to see you know forever, baby.
And that's what together one another.
I'll
Joyce
back
was with
you.
Lyle nearly all the time, so life settled into a predictable pattern, humdrum perhaps.
I love
As
you.
Joyce became
Oh,
restless. Joyce supervised
My
30
life.
men crammed into her tailor, which was not unlike any small
Please.
industrial workshop. But as she showed them how to make prison clothes, says former inmate Eric Jensen, Joyce would ignore personal boundaries.
She was hands-on. She would get right in your personal space. She wouldn't even tell you, like, excuse me or anything like that. She would just, like, brush right past you. And that was one of the key things that I did pick up on her. She was overly friendly.
Joyce was particularly friendly with the cop killer, David Sweat.
Good worker.
Very good worker.
Keep it
Sweat had been
you,
promoted to
baby.
instructor, teaching inmates how to sew, which landed him the top prison
I
wage,
promise.
40 cents an hour. The position also
If
put him in a
you-
close professional relationship with Joyce.
I want to
Then
keep it
she allowed their
you.
relationship to become personal. She says that was natural.
When
baby.
you're working with your instructor, it's like your right-hand man. So, I mean,
I want to
we were
see
talking
you
every
know
day about
forever.
work.
There was a friendship there.
There was a
I
friendship.
love you.
Was there flirtation as part of that friendship?
There was.
Jensen says the other inmates noticed that Joyce and Sweat spent a lot of time together alone, in a room where the fabric was stored.
They would, of course, they would be talking all day back and forth. You know, they laughed, they joked. We thought it was more than them just working together. They acted like they were friends from before they got incarcerated. Like they knew each other for a long time. They were very familiar with each other.
So familiar that rumors started flying.
We all thought that they were, you know, having sex back there.
But it wasn't until September
You
2014,
know.
years after Joyce and Sweat first met, that prison authorities got wind of the gossip.
They were
Forever.
concerned that there was some statements that inmates Sweat and I either had in the past or were having at that time a relationship, which we were not, because they were saying a sexual relationship. We were not.
So there was no sexual contact between you and David Sweat.
There was never any sexual contact between us whatsoever.
But at the time there was suspicion that people brought to the attention of prison officials that there might be a sexual relationship between you and inmate Sweat. Were you warned? Did someone come to you and say, Joyce, look, you've maybe crossed a line. You got to get back on the other side of the line.
I want to.
Actually, nobody ever really said too much.
Were you worried that you were going to lose your job at that point?
No, because there wasn't anything between us.
I was very shocked to learn that she
allegedly had sexual relations with an inmate.
Jeffrey Dumas, a former Clinton sergeant with 22 years of service, knows the prison inside and out, and knew inmate Sweat and Joyce Mitchell well.
I knew, okay, this is not true at that level. There is no way in that facility with the officer in the shop and the way it's constructed that they could have done something like that.
Still, Joyce says she knew salacious innuendo in the air. She had to try to nip it in the bud.
I was the one that, when they made the assumption, I went to the superiors, I guess if that's what you want to call them, and I made the complaint that they were saying stuff that was untrue.
You thought your reputation was being sullied.
Yes. And they came, they investigated it, and they found
Yet that episode didn't seem to deter Joyce. Coming close with Sweat's buddy, Richard Mack.
How long did it take, Mrs. Mitchell, for you to consider him to be a friend, as opposed to just another inmate?
It took a little while, but he was in different shops with me too. You know, he always had said, you know, you don't ever have to worry. If something happens, no one will ever hurt you. You know, we'll make sure that you're safe.
So what do you think he meant by that? Explain that for me within the context of life in a prison.
You've heard stories where inmates will take civilians hostage or whatever. He always would say, I never had anything to worry about. He would make sure that I was safe.
Did you take that to mean that he personally would, or that he also had connections within the prison where he could protect you in other areas as well?
I took it first personally.
That he would protect
Yeah, he would protect me personally.
Did an alarm go off in your body at that moment? Was there some internal alert that said, Joyce, this is a slippery slope?
Yes, there was.
And did anybody ever stop you as you were having some of these conversations with the inmates and say, you know, Joyce, back off a little bit, get back behind your desk, treat them like inmates, stop being such a nice person, stop being friends with them?
They never actually told me to stop, but they did say, you know, you're too friendly, you know, you're too nice.
And when they would say that to you, would you stop? Would you change?
I would a little bit, and then the inmates were wondering, you know, what happened. And at the time that everything happened, I was going through a time where I didn't feel like my husband loved me anymore. And I guess it was just me. I was going through depression. And I guess they saw my weakness. And that's how it all started.
So you were looking for something. You were looking for attention. Their attention made you feel good.
Yes, their attention made me feel good.
And it didn't seem to matter that her husband Lyle worked close by, also as a supervisor in one of the prison's other tailor shops. So you would see him during the day?
Yes.